All right. Well, welcome everybody to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're happy to have you here. Today, we're going to have Ruth Lipsky present LinkedIn's tools for job seekers. All right. So please note that this event will be recorded, and the recording may be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Comments in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. All right. So wanted to let you know about Jeff Morris, who founded a career DFW. He founded it in 2008 to help the job seekers. Then he attended a conference in Washington, D.C., and he saw a greater need to help job seekers around the country, and he started careerusa.org in 2012. He also wrote the book, What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know, which is available on Amazon. Or if you run into him, he always has copies of his book. He has led the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007, and he's been a member of the PIT crew since 2017. As for me, I'm your guest host. I am also a job seeker as well. So I'm happy to connect with you. I'll put my LinkedIn information in the chat when I have a free moment. Whoops, let's see. All right. So on LinkedIn Tuesdays, we have Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemotter who join us on a rotating basis. And you get to hear from all of these great speakers.
Guess who I ran into yesterday at jury duty? Terry.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't look
So
like that.
So with this, as you know, we have our LinkedIn Tuesdays, which is today at 1 o'clock Central. On Wednesdays, there is the interviewing practice interview team. And on Fridays at 9:30 a.m., we have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. With the practice interview team, they meet at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. We can watch them via Zoom on the fourth Wednesdays of the month. So hopefully you can join that. And then this upcoming Friday for the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, Steve Zipkoff will be presenting life lessons. Also, want to remind everybody that we have careerdfw.org and careerusa.org as LinkedIn groups. So please go ahead and join those two groups. We have over 15,000 members in the careerdfw.org LinkedIn group. Also, if you'd like to view any of the previously recorded sessions, we have them available on the careerusa.org YouTube page. What you'll want to do is you'll want to click on the playlist as noted here on the slide and view the full playlist. And with that, you'll see something like this where it'll show you all of the different LinkedIn sessions that we have in the past. What we don't have is we do not record Terry Sullivan's presentations, but you will see Ruth's, Locke's, and Kurt Vandemotter's presentations. So if you aren't receiving any emails about our workshops, what you should do is join the Career USA mailing list. You can scan this QR code, or you can send an email to Career USA subscribe@groups.io. So please note that Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees, and we survive on donations. So please consider making a donation when you get your next job. And if your new company makes matching donations, we are registered. If you do not see us listed, let us know who they use. And so today I will introduce Ruth Lipsky, and she is a career consultant with Lee Hecht Harrison, which is an outplacement firm. She specializes in the enhancements that LinkedIn rolls out, particularly the improvements that job seekers can use. So with that, I will stop sharing and turn it on over to Ruth.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for being here as part of our LinkedIn Tuesdays. It's an important part of any job search, and we appreciate the fact that you're using us as one of the tools of things that you're looking for. As you have questions through here, type your question in the chat, And Patty is going to be collecting that information and will stop along the way as necessary in order to clarify or go back through some of the things that we might be talking about today. So we're going to start off by saying that if you want to be found on LinkedIn by recruiters, you have to be somewhat familiar with the software program that they're using. The LinkedIn Recruiter software is used by about half of the coaches who are looking on LinkedIn for talent. And within the LinkedIn Recruiter software, they're going to generally start with a basic search. They're going to look for a title. They're going to put down a couple of skills. So in this case, the recruiter is looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area. Geographic location is not required in this day of remote. But they picked out 2 skills, business strategy and analytics, and LinkedIn has given them 42,798 people who have a profile that contains this information. LinkedIn also provides the 42,798 in order, and LinkedIn never does anything randomly. There's a reason why they put these 3 people as the first 3 that should be considered for this role. And we're going to be talking more about what it is that has brought these people to the top of a recruiter search, because LinkedIn says that the recruiter should value these people more. Now, after doing this basic search, LinkedIn provides some spotlight features. And the spotlight features are filters that recruiters have asked for. And the #1 filter is this person utilizing the open to work, either publicly or for the LinkedIn recruiters only? Does this person have any connections to my company? Do they have a first-degree connection in the company? Have they expressed an interest in the company? And are they an active talent? And the active talent is defined just in a little bit. But notice as this set of information is given to the recruiter, they're going to have thousands of people that they can look at. But the information that LinkedIn gives them is very small. It gives name, picture, the current job and location, and the last 2 jobs. So the recruiter doesn't have a heck of a lot of information that they can use to determine who's the best match for the type of role that they're looking at. So key things that we need to be looking at are the headlines, the titles that you're using, the skills that you're putting into your profile, and how to deal with the spotlight features to use them to your best advantage, especially the open to work, the mutual interest, and the active talent. So you're going to want a headline that describes who you are, what value you bring. You're talking to the recruiter. You've got 220 characters that allow you to say something to the recruiter about who you are and what you can do. So in this first example, a full stack application developer needs to lean heavily on what programs, what abilities they have that are associated with development. And so putting skill is going to be a huge plus, because the recruiter is probably looking for somebody who has specific skills. If the person has a broader title, like a program manager or a project manager, putting in the field, the area of expertise is going to be important. Focused on specializing in, able to. Other types of headlines could be for an accountant, what they do best, increasing productivity in highly regulated industries. Still gives a lot of different industries that are available for that person. The higher level you are, generally, the more broad your statement of worth is going to be. So if you're in a VP position, being able to say, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies is better than putting in skills that are associated with that. You're indicating that you have an understanding of the whole process. Or in this final one, Director of Customer Relations, helping the world become more customer-centric. A lot of skills can go into this. They're hoping for the opportunity to get into an interview to talk more closely about that. So 220 characters, You're talking directly to a recruiter. What do you want them to know about your skills? What do you want them to know about how you do things differently than other people, better than other people, and the value that you can bring to their company? A new feature on LinkedIn is the verification. This allows you to prove that you're a real person. And the verification badge was created by LinkedIn because there are a lot of people on LinkedIn that are scamming job seekers. They may have fake profiles. Being able to prove that you are a real person and the people that you're interacting with are real people is going to be a plus for you. So the verification badge, there's 3 different ways that you can verify yourself, either by a government issued identity, by the place that you work, or by an educational group. So let's take a look at what that looks like. This will be the area right here, and it says I have verifications. And if you click on the badge, it says that I actually have 2 verifications. I've got my government ID that proves who I am, and workplace in that I have been working for LHH for a period of years. The problem with doing these 3 is the workplace can be done on your computer. The education can be done on your computer. So if you are currently working at a job, or if you are currently attending a university or are employed by a university, you can do those on your profile. However, this one, using a government ID, you can't do on a computer. You have to do it on your phone, because the phone is going to ask you to look at yourself, and they're going to do facial recognition to ensure that you are who you are. And then they're going to do a recognition of the driver's license, passport, whatever else you're going to be using as a ID. So it will.
That's a good point to bring up, Ruth. Thanks for clarifying that, because I couldn't remember if you had to do some by phone, some by your computer. And obviously it would make sense that with your passport or your Clear ID that you would need to do that via your phone, because it has to take a picture of you, right?
It does not necessarily take a picture. It's actually the facial recognition that is
Oh,
ensuring
facial
that you are.
recognition, I meant.
Yeah, so important part there. But it looks as if you should be able to do that verification by clicking on the verification on your computer or laptop. It will take you so far, and then it looks as if it gets hung up, and will never go any further. Yeah, it's because it has to be on a phone.
It
So
gives you a variety of ways to verify yourself, right? So if one method you say, I don't want to give them this information, but I want to verify another way, then they usually have a few options for you. Is that correct?
as far as the government documentation, yes. So you can use anything that would be a government issued identifier. But this is a good thing for you to do, because recruiters are concerned that they are finding people that look great, but they're not real people. And being able to show that you are verified by at least one of these 3 areas is going to help you out.
And that's a good thing for us to do about recruiters too, because they're fake recruiters.
They're fake recruiters, and don't talk to recruiters or anyone who is representing themselves as a member of a company unless you see that they are verified.
So question came in, will it require you to use the name in your passport or ID on LinkedIn?
Your name has to be the same as what your passport or your driver's license has. They are going to be comparing the name. And if you change your name, then you're going to have to re-verify yourself.
So say your middle name is John, and you put that, how about that on your LinkedIn, but your official name is Peter. Is that going to be a problem?
It could be. So it may be that you'll need to change your name on LinkedIn, verify, but if you change it back, it might require you to redo it.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Anybody who runs into that, let us know, because we don't know an awful lot about the details of this yet.
Okay, thank you.
All right. A recruiter is looking for specific titles, and title is one of the key areas that the algorithm is going to be looking for. It can be an exact match, or it could be a very close member of the job family. In your title section in experience, you should expand the information that you are providing to the recruiter so that you can translate your job title into something that's more noticeable. So in my case, my official title is career consultant, but career coach is used more often in the industry. So I'm putting a pipe, the straight up and down item that's right above the enter key to indicate these are the same title, the same type of work. In my previous role, though, I was in the training and development team, but my group was charged with moving everything from classroom training to virtual training. And during that time, I became an instructional designer, and I became an expert as an e-learning developer. So in parentheses, I'm putting in the additional titles that I feel I'm capable of accepting because of the type of work that I was doing in this role. Quite often, the job that you have at a company does not necessarily indicate what you actually did. So if you need to translate what you did, put that in the title area so that it can be found. Otherwise, it's going to look as if I'm pivoting my career from senior manager of training and development into an instructional designer, when actually I'm not. It's a background area that I'm quite comfortable in, detailed in. I need to put it there to showcase that. The title's the place to put all the job titles that you did during your job. Now let's talk about skills, because recruiters are looking for skills, and they're going to be looking for specific ones that are associated with success in that role in their company. And one of the best ways to take a look at the skills section is by going into a LinkedIn page that is going to provide us with more information about what LinkedIn has available to us. And that would be this page. It's a LinkedIn page, but is independent of the LinkedIn profile information that you're seeing. And it has other information in it as far as the future of work. It's got workforce data, but we want to be taking a look at the skills that are associated with the job that I have.
I've entered the link in the chat for everybody if you would like to save that as well.
Thank you, Patty, because this is not an easy site to find if you're just trying to look it up on Google. So let's say that you are a project manager and you are in the IT area. So for an IT project manager, LinkedIn says these are the types of skills that we expect you to have. And they are in order. So the ones at the top here, the software development lifecycle, is one that they truly think that everybody should have, whereas the ones at the bottom are probably not necessarily as needed, but definitely all of these types of skills should be the skills that you're looking for to add into your profile. It also gives us information about, now that you are an IT project manager, what's your next step in your career? And it'll provide information on, let's find jobs that are similar in the skill set. So we're going to take a look at those that have a strong match. 93% of the skills needed to be a program manager are the same for a project manager. So it will tell you which ones are unique for each one and which ones are in common. And skills that would needed to be built in order to make this adjustment a little bit easier. So it provides that. A lot of these are not necessarily surprises. You might want to take a look at some that are unusual. Moving into an application manager, you've got a 79% match on skills. It's a good way to go into an interview to be able to say, here's this list of skills that I have through here. I may not have done the job precisely, but I've got the skills that are necessary. And please be aware that these skills through here are all technical skills. They are hard skills. They are not the soft skills like communication and management and leadership. Those you'll have to add in based on your activities and what you've been doing in your roles. So they're looking for the things that are more specific on the technical side.
Ruth, I have a question for you regarding the popularity. So in this particular one for delivery manager, it says 0.1. Is that 0.1 out of 100 or out of 10? I mean, that's just not very likely, it seems.
It
It's out
means that
of
not
10.
many people move to a delivery manager.
Yeah, so it's
The
out of
match
10.
is actually 81%. So there are a lot of skills there, but not many people want to because this is a step down in the hierarchy of technology jobs.
I
But if
see.
you are looking for a job that has less pressure, that you want to move down in the organization because you don't want to put the time in anymore, this is a good way to look for something that allows you to step back as long as you have a reason for it.
hmm
So you're right, not many people want to do it, but it's available if you want it.
And then again, going up to the cities, like this is based on Atlanta, right? But it doesn't really matter so much the metro area.
I have not found any change based on city. So,
Okay.
but if you wanted to move outside of um, the United States, you could see a different set of skills.
hmm a question for you from the chat. Do recruiters search on hard skills exclusively, or do they also match/search on soft skills?
It depends on the job. If they're looking for somebody that is going to be in a lower level, highly technical role, it's probably going to be all technical. If they're looking for somebody who has an interface with a client base, then they're probably going to want something like building relationships or communication or crisis management. So it'll depend on the type of role that you're looking for. LinkedIn gives us 100 that we can put into that skill section. So there's room generally for both the technical and the soft skills. But since LinkedIn only allows you to have 2 that are on the base page, you're going to have to pick out the 2 that seem to be the best fit for the type of role. Normally 1 technical, 1 soft skill. If you deal with people, if you deal solely with the technical side of life, then having 2 that are technical would be preferred.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't see any other questions in the chat at this time, so.
Remember that skills are going to be not only in this list, and in order to put the 2 at the top that you want, you're going to go into this area, the 3 dots here, and you're going to put them in the order that you think is best suited for you. So the ones at the top of your list are all going to be your stronger skills. The ones at the bottom might be ones that you think are of interest and might be of importance, but not as much as the top ones. But you can click and drag in order to move your skills any way that you want, just knowing that the top 2 are going to be the ones that are going to appear on your profile page and are going to be most obvious to the recruiter as your 2 best skills for the type of role that you're dealing with. Now, skills should also be added into your About section, because the more times you say you have a skill, the better off you're going to be. LinkedIn rewards you for saying multiple times that you have a skill. And if you say that you have a skill in your skill section, you say it in your About section, you say it in your experience section, then that gives you 3 times. And if you repeat a skill 3 times, LinkedIn feels you've got a higher level of competency in that. When you're dealing with the About section, you're mostly dealing with, here's information that I want the applicant tracking system to be aware of, to be able to use. You're also looking for, I want the human eye to be comfortable with the information once I come to it. So having a short paragraph is going to help the readability once you get a human eye on it. Your paragraph should be no more than 4 lines deep when you're looking at a computer. And by the way, you should never use a text converter. It may look pretty, and I'm seeing more information out there that we should be doing this, which is why I did it. But it means that LinkedIn cannot see that skill, cannot see anything that is in that text converter. And if you've researched any of the text converter, you would put in your information up here, and then you can pick how you want it to be displayed so that you can move it into LinkedIn. It is more readable, but LinkedIn can't read it. So what helps the human eye, you're taking away from a recruiter using the algorithm to find you. So I put it in just to let you know that you shouldn't do it, but that's what it looks like. All right, let's take a look at that hashtag open to work, because LinkedIn created this because it said that there's no shame to being unemployed. And this came up in about probably 2017, where there had been a huge number of mergers and acquisitions, and people who are highly qualified and competent were being let go because the company had to break down and only have one position, and the company that bought you probably is going to keep their own people. So people were being let go, being laid off when they were truly remarkably talented. Then came the pandemic in 2020, and it got worse because during the pandemic, companies were resizing, moving to a smaller size in order to weather through the decrease in customer needs. And once again, if you weren't part of their core processing, it was probably going to be a difficult time for you. Whole departments, whole lines of business were being let go. Qualified people. So LinkedIn's hashtag open to work is trying to support the people who were part of a layoff, but are still highly qualified. LinkedIn is telling us that not only is this the #1 search by recruiters, but that if you have that hashtag open to work banner around your headshot, then you're likely to receive 20 to 50% more contacts from a recruiter, because recruiters can find you. And only about half of the recruiters who are on LinkedIn are able to use the LinkedIn Recruiter software. Big companies will use the LinkedIn Recruiter software. Smaller companies generally not, because it's an expensive proposition. It's about $800 a month to have a license for LinkedIn Recruiter. Most of the small and mid-sized companies are going out onto LinkedIn and just typing in the information in the search bar on what they're looking for, and they're doing the search that way. They can't see that you're open to work unless you have this on public. This is one of the features. Go ahead.
So Ruth, obviously then people should be using that open to work banner if you are open to work, right? And so so that recruiters can find you easily, others in your network can find you, and anybody who doesn't buy the LinkedIn Recruiter package can see that you're open to work, and that's your perspective. There's also where some people are saying, how about using the hashtag ONO, right, for open to new opportunity as well. Do you advocate using that in your about section?
You can put that in your about section, but if it's in your about section, it's going to be harder to find, because now you're expecting the recruiter to read your about section to find that hashtag open to work or hashtag ONO. Do not put hashtags in your headline, because that distorts the LinkedIn search and it means you'll be found less often. So your headline area, no hashtags, no emojis, no special characters at all in the headline. So yes, in general, it's a good thing to consider. It is not right for everyone though. If you want your search to be quiet for whatever reason, if you feel that is a sign of desperation, and you see articles on that too, then don't use it. If you're not comfortable using it with that hashtag around your headshot, don't use it. You won't have as many hits by recruiters, but that might not be a problem for you. Now, I did do a search on ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to look at 500 articles that were written by LinkedIn experts or by recruiters in 2023 and 2024, and asked ChatGPT to analyze how many said use it versus don't use it. For the 2023 to 2024, 70% of the experts and recruiters recommended using it, 30% advised against it. If I ran that same query for the time frame 2021, 2022, then 60% recommended it and 40% advised against it. So the attitudes are changing on whether to use this hashtag open to work, but be aware that there are today 30% of the people who look at your profile are going to think less of you for having that public hashtag open to work. But 70% are going to think that that's a good thing to know, and they'll use it advisedly. This is a feature that ages. For some reason, LinkedIn feels that if you have that hashtag open to work and 2 months later you have not changed it, it assumes you've already gotten a job even though it's still open. So every 2 months you need to turn it off and then turn it back on again so that LinkedIn refreshes it and recognizes that you are still looking to work. Somehow finding a job within 2 months in today's economy astonishes me, but there you have it. Any questions about open to work? Because there's still a lot of discussion on it, and there's still people who feel strongly one way or another.
Yeah, I think there has been a lot of discussion. Most recently, there was a woman who created her own banner and it had desperate on there in pink. And that's her own, that's not a LinkedIn banner, but I think she got a lot of, likes or impressions because of that.
I think she was a designer.
Correct.
And was able to create that. It caught your attention, didn't it?
Oh, for sure. But I think, the desperate part really makes it look more desperate, right?
Hashtag desperate, yes. All right, let's take a look at the Spotlight feature that deals with mutual interest. Companies want to know if you're interested in their company. And so your job during your job search is to find the companies and let them know that you do like them. And there are 4 ways to do that. You can follow the company. You can set up job alerts within the company. You can click on the I'm interested button, and you can connect with employees within the company. So let's take a look and see what that looks like when we're out on LinkedIn. Somebody give me the name of a company that they're interested in working for.
Okay, anybody would like to give a name of a company that you're interested
Toyota.
in?
Toyota.
I think that's a
Toyota.
popular company.
Toyota North
Yes.
America. Let's try this one. The first thing you're going to do is that you're going to be following, click on the follow button. What that does is it tells the company that you want information to come to your homepage about the company. So new products, activities within the company, reorganizations within the company, employee engagement parties, all of that you want to see in your home feed. So following just says, I'm interested in you as a company. Now you're going to view the page, and this is going to be the LinkedIn version of a company page. So LinkedIn has created this simply for LinkedIn. It is not their actual website. A couple things that you're going to want to do. In the About section here in this tab, you can click that, and as you scroll down, there's a box that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? Yes. You can do this for as many companies you want. And recruiters are going to be able to see this as they're doing their search on the LinkedIn software. And that's going to move you up higher in the list because it's indicating a mutual interest. You're interested in them. You're showing that you would like to be considered for positions that might not even exist yet. And recruiters recognize that. So that's the second way you're connecting with them. You're going to follow them and you're going to say, I'm interested. Not everybody has this box on their page, by the way. The other is going back to these tabs through here. You're going to go to jobs. And in the jobs tab, there are going to be some jobs that are listed from Toyota. It is not everything that Toyota North America has on their career page. You may want to go there if you're serious about looking for a specific job. But this does allow you to create a job alert. And when you create a job alert, it allows you to put in a title, and it has to be a title that LinkedIn has standardized. LinkedIn has standardized 6,000 titles. And when a recruiter is using LinkedIn, they're going to use the title that most closely matches what their actual internal title is. So if we're going to say that we're just looking for a project development manager, but there are a lot of them that you can pick up, you're going to put in the location, and then you're going to create the job alert. What this does is that when Toyota's recruiters post a job on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is going to search through the job alerts and is going to push back to the recruiter, here are people who created a job alert for this type of job in this area, and their details in their profile match what you're looking for as the keywords in your job. You might want to take a look at these people first. So the job alert is the most powerful way of getting in touch with a recruiter about a specific job. And that's probably the reason that LinkedIn has limited the job alerts to a total of 20. Some of them you're going to want to use in your jobs tab as you're creating job alerts, but you can do it by company. One per company is generally enough. So now we followed them. We went to the About section to say I'm interested. We went to the Job section to create an alert. Now we're going to the People area because LinkedIn is going to give us the total number of people who worked at this company who have a LinkedIn profile. And it's going to give it in a couple, let me open up, a couple different columns. The first is where they live, where they study, maybe not as much. What they do tells you what department they work in. So if you wanted to start narrowing down to find people who had similar job titles to you so that you could connect with them, or if you wanted to be able to find who the hiring manager might be, you can use this departmental one. What they're skilled at, what they studied, and how you're connected. LinkedIn is keeping track of where people are in your network. And that might be difficult for you to do because you may have connected with them while they were working in the same company that you were, but now they're not. And you may have lost track of where they went. This is going to tell you where they are. You can also see what your second degree connections are. Second degree connections are people who have people in their network that are identical to the people in your network. And you can connect with them and ask for a connection request that says, I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I'm always interested in people in similar industries or with similar titles to me. Would love to connect, and send that off. When you're connecting on LinkedIn, you normally want to give a reason for that. Now, you never use the white connect button on a computer because it means that you are sending LinkedIn standard, I'd like to be part of your network. Go to the person's name or their photo and go to their profile page and find the blue connect button. When you're on a computer or a laptop, the blue connect button is going to allow you to personalize a message, and that's going to be more valuable. People who are most likely to connect with you. Let's say that you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and you are looking for people who are recruiters, because recruiters tend to be more active on LinkedIn and are generally in a position where they're collecting people's names anyway. So here it says we've got 59 people who are in the DFW Metroplex and who either currently have a title of recruiter or who at one time has a title of recruiter. So going through and taking a look at these people, look at what their titles are. If it's cybersecurity recruiting, if that's where your field is, this is the person you want to connect with. Go to their profile page, find the blue connect button, send a message. If you see anybody that's got the purple hashtag hiring, that's probably a good person to be talking to also, because they're active on LinkedIn and they're indicating that they have jobs that they are working on. And if you talk to that person or connect with them, they are more likely to be able to pass on your information to whichever recruiter is actually hiring for that particular job. So hashtag hiring, always a positive one. Titles, find the ones that are most associated with the type of role that you're looking for. So those are the 4 ways you're connecting to a company. The people one is pretty important, because once you're connected to someone in a company, you can always, when the interview request comes from a recruiter, you can contact the people who are your first degree connections and send them messages. I have a interview coming up. Any tips on what questions I should prepare for? Sometimes you get some insider information about LinkedIn believes in collaboration. There will be a question on, please explain your definition of collaboration in a business environment. Nice to be prepared for those types of questions.
Yeah, great information. I think all of us have probably done some combination of some of these, but we haven't done all of them. Or then we say, oh, I forgot about looking in the about section to say, I'm interested in that company, right? So go back and look at your target companies, see if they have that I'm interested button. Definitely enable that so that they know that you are interested in working for them.
The other way that you can be doing some research into companies is that you can take a University of, let's go to Texas. All right, we're going to go to the University of Texas, Austin. When you're on a university page for a school that you attended, you don't care about jobs, but you do care about alumni. Every company is going to have, or every university is going to have a list of alumni. And now it shows that there are 496,372 alumni who graduated between in the last 124 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. If you're looking for a job at a certain company, and let's say it's Toyota, you can type in Toyota and you can see that there are 99 people who have worked at Toyota North America. We've got others that were in Toyota Financial, but narrowing it down to, here are the 99 people who went to the same school you did, who are working at a company that you want to be part of. You can go through and look at these if it's a small enough number. If not, you're going to use these arrows maybe until you get to what they do. And maybe you want to be only in the business development area. Now you're looking at 15 people who work in the same type of business that you work in. They're at a company that you want to work in. Take a look through and see if there's anybody here that you could connect to. And your connection request here is going to be, I see you also attended blank university. I enjoyed my time there. I'm considering opportunities at Toyota. Would love to know how you like it there. Let's connect. So being able to indicate why you're connecting with them is going to be the first step in getting their attention and hopefully providing them with the information that is going to allow them to connect with you.
Ruth, just going back to that point that you mentioned in the connection request, if people have the free LinkedIn, then they only have so many connection requests or messages that they can customize. So if they're connecting here through the university, though, that's unlimited. Is that correct?
What you would have to go to the group.
You'd have
So
to go in the groups, right?
University of Texas. When you're in a group, you can talk with people within the group. And let's just say, oh man, I got a lot of them. Okay, let's go with this one. LinkedIn provides you with a group. If you join the group, then you're going to be able to message anybody in the group as often as you want. So you don't need to be a first degree connection. Being in a group allows you to be considered part of a close enough relationship that you'll be able to continue with activity. Let me see if there are any of these. Let's go to a group that I know about. If you're looking for project manager groups, LinkedIn is going to give you a list of groups that are associated with project management. You can go to and check out the groups. And if it has a green active group, you need to take special attention because it means that this is a viable active group. 94% of the groups on LinkedIn are dead. They may have been created several years ago. The people who were involved in the activity are no longer active on LinkedIn. There have been no posts. There have been no requests for membership. So stay away from those groups. They're empty. They're not going to give you the information you want. But if it's got the green active, then you're going to want to say, I'd like to join. There is a gatekeeper in front of every group on LinkedIn. They're going to look at your profile and make sure that you belong in this community. So you have to have some project management activity or titles within your profile in order to be part of this. But once you're in, you've got 649, nearly 650,000 people that you're able to talk to, asking for advice, asking for introductions, checking on how evaluations, how interviews are conducted. So groups are an important part of ensuring that you are being able to contact the people and share the information that you need. So, showing your interest in your targeted company, 4 ways. Increasing your visibility is the next thing you're going to want to be doing. The spotlight features that are associated with active talent is if you are active and continuing to hit that enter button and do things on LinkedIn, if you respond to recruiters when they reach out to you, if you update your profile, if you share your resume, or if you work in an organization with recent layoffs, LinkedIn is going to prioritize you. So let's take a look at each one of those. On your home page, LinkedIn is pushing you information that it thinks you're interested in. And that's based on what information you have in your profile. It's based on what types of companies you are in. It's based on what jobs you've been looking at on the job boards. So it's going to push information to you. You can comment on posts that are on your homepage, and LinkedIn wants you to be talking. It doesn't want you to just put a comment like, thank you. It wants you to engage and have a further discussion. So thank you for posting. I saw this in my last role. I think that there are good reasons why this does happen. but you need a minimum of 12 words to get the maximum amount of points in the LinkedIn algorithm for that. Don't use special characters, emojis, or anything. Those interrupt the LinkedIn search. LinkedIn has a lot of artificial intelligence associated with it, but it really doesn't do a very good job in format problems. So at least 3 times a week, comment on somebody's post, anybody's post. If you wanted to post your own comment, it could be an article from another site that has that LinkedIn icon by it, and that brings it into LinkedIn. You can put your own comments on top of it and post it. Weekly posting is more effective because it means that LinkedIn is seeing that your engagement is strong. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have better reactions. More people are going to see it because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have a higher population on LinkedIn. And if somebody comments on your post, comment back. Thank you so much for recognizing that this is a problem. It doesn't have to be 12 words at that point, but LinkedIn is going to reward you for making this a dialogue and not just a one-time only post. If you are contacted by a recruiter on your message tab, you need to reply back. Even if you're not interested in the job, LinkedIn is keeping track of, are you in contact with recruiters? If they contact you, are you going to give them a message back? Don't ghost a recruiter. However, if it is someone who is trying to sell you something or tell you how good it would be to go back to school at their university, you can ignore all of those. But if it's a recruiter, make sure that you do let them know if you're interested or not interested. And you can upload your resume. LinkedIn allows you to have up to 7 different versions of your resume. I'm not a big fan of this because I prefer that the recruiter look at your full LinkedIn profile. Resumes are normally 2 pages max. Your LinkedIn profile can contain a lot more information than that, but there are the ways that you can do it. So you're going to do that on the Jobs tab. And when you click on the Jobs tab, you've got a table of contents over here. And in the Preferences area, it's going to say, here are my qualifications. And you can click on this arrow, and it will allow you to upload your profile, your resumes. Make sure that when you title your resumes, that you put in the title first and then your name, because if they all say Ruth Lipsky, Ruth Lipsky, Ruth Lipsky, they're going to forget that I'm looking for a coaching job on this one. I'm looking for a project manager job on this one. And so make sure that it's easily visible to a recruiter. Any questions?
All right. Thanks so much, Ruth, for a great presentation and insights for us today. I think we all have taken some tips out of it. We'll see if anybody has any questions. Mark, do you have a question?
I do. I'm brand new to this. I'm LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn cripple. I can tell you that. Talk to me just briefly about resumes. You said you can put a bunch of resumes on LinkedIn, but then you talk about recruiters can see them. How do you keep a recruiter from seeing one resume and not another?
Recruiters will be able to see all of your resumes that you attach. The difference is that they can't read the title of each resume. So if you wanted to have a title for 3 different types of roles that you're looking for, that needs to be the title of your resume that you're uploading.
And that begs the question, why do I want several resumes? I know why I want several resumes, but why do I want several resumes on LinkedIn for a recruiter to thumb through?
That's a really good question. I don't think you should, but LinkedIn is trying to encourage people to do that because recruiters want to be able to pick up your information, run it quickly through their applicant tracking system, see what your score is, and go from there. But since it is not something that I think is a particularly positive thing. It is not scannable. It is not something that is part of the algorithm. I don't do it, but LinkedIn says you should. So if you don't feel
What
it's
if you
good, don't do it.
What if your resume, your full resume makes it sound like you're 110 years old? I've got two resumes that I use. One is the one that makes me look old, that has more talent, excuse me, more talent on it. And then I have a shorter one that makes me look younger. Which one am I supposed
Resumes
to put on
normally,
LinkedIn?
resumes only go back maybe 12 or 15 years because anything you did prior to 15 years ago probably doesn't exist in the same way as it would today. So the technology has changed on some of those, and people aren't interested in what you did 15 years ago. They want to know, what have you done recently and what are the skills that you've used most recently.
Hey, Ruth, I have
So
a
if you,
question for you.
Mhm.
This is David Watrous. I've found it helpful to have a number of resumes present because I'm applying for different types of roles or jobs in sales, sales management, et cetera. And so as I'm going through the job availabilities, they're listed. If it says sales manager, then I go to my resume, they have stored that says sales manager. If it says senior account executive, I do that. I click on that one. So it's made it easier for me to respond to more companies, not every company, but companies that are really targeted to what I'm looking to do faster. Because it asks you, hey, do you want to use a LinkedIn resume to, fill out their form, or do you want to attach a resume? So I also wanted to make sure that I'm not cutting my head off by using a LinkedIn resume to have there versus just attaching my own resume for each of these jobs I apply at through LinkedIn.
I think you've got a good point there because what we see is that, let me get out of here. If you're looking for more than one job and then you're going to have different resumes, one for each type of role. But on LinkedIn, you can put in your about section the different types of roles that you're looking for. So he or she can be an enterprise agile coach, a product owner, a scrum master, and she's putting down some of the ways in which she was showing excellence or background information for each one of those roles. You would probably have 3 different resumes that you would attach to your LinkedIn profile if you wanted to have those in there. So the resumes that you have, you can still talk about all 3 of those in the experience section of, not the experience section, but the about section.
Just a quick follow-up to headhunters bother you or think it's unusual if you're getting like what happens is LinkedIn sends you job postings, right? They send you a list every day or every week or whatever by category. So is that ever a problem where you're tracking like a sales manager jobs, VP sales, account executive, and so you're getting those posts and they're totally different jobs for each one? Is that going to be held against me by being in there knowing that I'm looking at all 3 of those?
No, LinkedIn loves that. The more types of roles that you're looking for, LinkedIn assumes that you've got capabilities. They're in a broader process rather than in a silo approach. So being able to look for different types of roles is considered to be positive, and applying for different types of roles within a same company is a good sign for applicant tracking systems for that company because they feel that you know more about that company, you know more about their products, culture, services, and are going to reward you for that. So
Ruth,
yeah, it includes many things.
Thank you, Ruth.
I have a question for you from the chat. As far as removing old resumes from LinkedIn, is that easy to do?
As a matter of fact, you would go into your jobs tab again, go into your preferences, and when you're in your resumes and application data, you will be able to view your resumes and you'll be able to delete any that you don't want. Let me show you, since I don't have a resume out there, let me show you for if it's going to be job alerts. Same thing. So I've got job alerts set up. There will be an edit pencil next to each one of the resumes that you have. You can click on the edit pencil, and on the bottom right, you can delete the resumes that you don't want, and then replace them with one that might be more powerful. Did that make sense?
Yep. All right. So somebody asked, would you please talk again about verification? I'm very hesitant to share private information such as driver's license numbers or passports because of so many risks for identity theft. Is there a way to verify without using such private information?
No, but nobody is going to see it. So when you click on what verification, all it says is, I have been identified using a government ID and I am who I say I am. And workplace, it does tell me that it was this company that verified that I've been working for them for over 8 years now. So it's going through Clear, which is a company that deals with private information. If you go into the help function here and ask about verification, Clear, it'll talk more information and more details about what they do with it, how they use it, and the fact that it should never be shared. If you're not comfortable doing it, then don't do it, but read through and see what it looks like.
And then one other person had their hand up earlier, John Rodriguez. Did you still have a question?
Yeah, was there any time frame for responding to recruiters? Like you said, it kind of puts it into the analytics. Is there any time limit? Is there a time associated with that, or is like 2 or 3 days okay?
Generally 24 hours or 48 hours is better. They're assuming that you're on LinkedIn fairly often. Quite often the recruiter is going to send out notes to 20 people to say, I like your resume, or I like your LinkedIn profile, would like to talk. The first 10 who respond are the ones that they're going to set up information, and they're going to ghost the other 10.
Okay.
So the faster you respond back, generally, the easier it is for you to get on their list.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mike, you have a question?
Yes, Ruth, you had given kind of more specific parameters about refreshing kind of your feed. Several people had told me literally you just have to go in and add periods, remove periods, make minor tweaks. Does that really not move the needle at all? You really need to make those specific follow those guidelines you provided about like 12 comments, etc.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to rewrite anything. If I was happy with the information I've got up in my headline, I might put workshop facilitator in front of expert in job search strategies. So reordering in your headline is okay. But every 2 months, it's generally better if you refresh your open to work, put something new up in your headline, and rewrite the first 4 lines of your about section, because that refreshes things a lot stronger. Now, if you think that your analytics, who has viewed your profile and how many search appearances that you're part of is okay, and you want to keep the information you have because you think you're visible, then you're right. Just a couple of tweaks with it's got to be words. It can't be periods or commas. Would be okay.
Thank you.
James, you have a question?
Yeah, just to add on to that, spoke with someone in my network that just once a week on Sunday nights, for example, they may go into their about section, and at the very bottom they say, as of today's date, save. They do that weekly.
Okay, that'd be a way to do it too. It
So,
shows that you're up to date on the information.
Yeah.
Another question from the chat. If you're not being contacted by any recruiters, what are the top 5 areas you need to fix on LinkedIn?
Probably the skills, so that you repeat the skills that recruiters are looking for. And when you're on the jobs tab and you're finding jobs that you like, search for the skills that seem to be associated with success in that role. So it may be that there's a mismatch on the skills that you have on your profile and what's being looked for in today's environment. So once you've identified the skills, then put them in multiple areas of your profile and continue to be active on LinkedIn, looking for jobs, connecting with companies, following companies, connecting with other people. Those would be the things that are most useful.
Great, thank you for that. James, do you have another question?
Yeah, sorry, just to follow up, Ruth, on that, what you just mentioned, that search on, I think you used project management as the example. Is that other website, not LinkedIn, but it's the other website that's sort of hard to locate?
The
Is that right?
GitHub.
That one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and you put that link in the chat so I can save
I
it?
did, yes.
Okay,
I'll
great.
put it in again right now.
Thank you.
Patty.
All right, let me see if there are other questions here. Okay, so Jason Morgan had responded about the recruiter thing. Try searching like a recruiter would and make sure you're in the results. I found out I wasn't in the results until I added some terms in the about section. Yeah, so if there's a role that you're going for, you have to use the LinkedIn titles. You can't like type in your own title, and then do a search in your metropolitan area and see where you come in. If you're not in the top 10, if you're not in the top 10 pages on the search, then you need to do something about that so recruiters can find you. All right. Okay, Radha, you have a question? Hello? You're on mute. Otherwise, I think
No, sorry, that was a mistake. Thank you.
okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think we've got everything. Oh, there's another question. Oh, because people are saying, how do you check to see if you're in the top 10 searches? So, and Ruth, I don't know if you want to demo it, but I've done it myself. Since you've got LinkedIn open, you can show something, show people how that's done.
I think that they're going to.
I go to
okay.
event filters. I do title and I do area.
Let's save that for another time because I've got another meeting that I need to.
Oh, okay.
prepare for,
Yeah,
if you
we're
don't
nearly
mind.
at time. Anyway, I can go ahead and see if I can show other people that, but I've done it and it's pretty good to see where you are. So definitely want to make sure you do that. Also, I believe Terry Sullivan will show that in his presentation. And so he will be back with me on October 29th. So hopefully you can attend that presentation as well. So I hope everybody found today's session enlightening. So we want to thank Ruth again for the excellent presentation and hope to see everybody again next Tuesday at LinkedIn Tuesday and hope to see you on other careerdfw.org events. I will put the calendar in the Zoom chat. Hopefully everybody can also download the chat before you leave so that you can network with others. You can do that by clicking on the three dots next to the title of the presentation. If you have Windows 10, if you have Windows 11, there's a down arrow underneath where you type your message in the chat and it should say save chat for you. And so with that, I'm going to end the session and I'll stay on just for another minute or two so people have a chance to download the chat before I close the meeting. So I'll stop the recording. So thank you everybody for joining and thanks again, Ruth.
My pleasure.